But you know what? Immigration was never an issue in Canada, and that's since the inception of this very country. We were all unanimous in the support of people coming here to help us build the greatest country on earth. But when you open a door so wide open, remove all the stringent requirements, and refuse to enforce immigration law, aka, well, deport people that are overstaying their visas or have been found to commit crimes in the country, well, it leads to things like this.
Be predatory on innocent families. You can't. Here's a case where all the alleged criminals are not even Canadian citizens, but they were acting with impunity in our region. If you think this can be replicated, it's going to have the same result, because we have the best of the best in the Peel Regional Police. And having CBSA here to send a very clear signal that this is not tolerated in Canada, I think is particularly helpful.
It's shocking to see that all these criminals are not Canadians. And it makes you wonder, are we better off as a country for having allowed these people in? See, that's a systemic failure on the part of the government, whose number one duty is to protect Canadians in the first place. Immigration needs to go back to not being a contentious issue. We should only care about one thing: the quality of the people that come here and what they can bring in terms of value for us as a country. Once we do this, everything will go back to normal. The point system was the envy of immigration systems across the world. Governments and countries turned to Canada to understand how to do it well, and we did it well. However, ever since Trudeau came into power, the Liberals have had a decade of stronghold on this country. They've done away with it, and they've opened the floodgates. And we've been, again, gaslit, saying that we needed people for our economy or else it was going to collapse. Turns out that ain't true. And now our crime rate has been skyrocketing. Until we can reestablish order and immigration vetting, the only sensible solution is to shut down the door. And I like to use an analogy to make it simpler to understand for those who might not grasp the concept. Let's say you had a bowl of apples. In there you have 10 green apples, 10 yellow apples, and 10 red apples. Now, if I told you that 3 out of the 10 green apples are poisonous, you bite into it, you die. Would you try to eat the green apples? Or would you just content yourself with the red and yellow apples until you can find a way to truly ascertain which of the green apples are poisonous and which are not? Well, welcome to the reality of humanity. This is the exact same thing. There are plenty of amazing apples, delicious juicy apples in this world. However, some of them are indeed poisonous, and it is the government and our duty to make sure that we don't let them in. Our country is not a poisoned country. We need to protect it at all costs, and there's plenty of poisonous apples that want to ruin us. Now, y'all wanted more American content, and you know what? I'm all about it. I agree, because shining light on some common sense might just be a good idea and what we truly need. Something for us to model, maybe to even implement in our own Canadian way. And this video is freaking amazing. It's Howard Lutnick, the US Secretary of Commerce, speaking at the World Economic Forum. Wait, did I say speaking? I should have said destroying the hell out of the World Economic Forum straight to their faces, which is not only hilarious, but you have to watch the way they react to this.
Far sure. Find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries. Why would you do that? Why would the United States of America, which has oil and natural gas, try to convert to all electricity? China does not have oil and natural gas. Electricity and electric cars make perfect sense to them. That is practical and logical. So the point I want to make, and I want people to think about, is that America First is the job of our government to take care of our workers, to make sure their lives are better for it. And then, don't be America alone. right? But be America first. And I would suggest that policy is something for other countries to deeply consider, to take care of their own, and then we will work out wonderful relationships between us.
Damn. Look at his face. He's just had the entire scam blown open right in front of his eyes. And here's Canada's Minister of Finance looking quite unimpressed with the smackdown. And if this face doesn't show you what he's really thinking, look, the US is leading the way in common sense and reminding people that their country should come first, and that supranational organizations like the EU or the WEF are not the will of the people. It's elites dictating on the plebs what they think the plebs need. Quite truthfully, it's never what the plebs need. Rather, it's what the elites think is best for themselves. But look, Howard Lutnick's points are all super valid. A country should and ought to put the well-being of their citizens first. That's the whole point of a country. The fact that we even have to mention this just shows how far the hysteria has gone. We're at a point now in life where we have to reconvince citizens to put their well-being first, to put their well-being of their country first. How far have we slid down? And the thing is, people already put their well-being first day to day. It's only natural. We take care of our family, we take care of our friends, we take care of our tribe, we take care of our kids. We put the well-being of all these people above that of others. It's not to say that compassion is not important. It really is. But not at the cost of your own well-being. And this is the issue with the West, with Canada, the US, Europe. It's that suicidal empathy of always putting the needs and the desires and most importantly the feelings of others first at your own demise. Like, for example, prioritizing the needs of, say, Ukraine above your own makes no sense. Of ideologies above your economy, that makes no sense. Of foreign global desires like the WEF and the EU above that of domestic needs makes no sense. And that's why I've been a fan of confederacies. Not the Confederacy, big difference. I said confederacies. The core difference between, say, a federation and a confederacy is where the sovereignty lies. In a federation, a central government holds supreme power over members, whereas in a confederacy, independent states hold supreme power and only grant specific, limited powers to a central authority. And the reason I say that is because I believe that no one knows what's best for a group of people than the group of people themselves. I think governments need to be as close to the ground as possible, as close to the individual as you can get. A really big bloated federal government, say in Canada, a huge country, does not understand the needs of the people. Someone from Ottawa doesn't know what someone from Nova Scotia needs, and someone from PEI sure as hell doesn't have the same life as someone from Alberta. As such, the people are best led by members of their own society. Small, local, domestic governments understand the need of the people on the ground, and that's what confederations do. They keep sovereignty, they keep power very close to themselves, and they are part of a larger group for bigger issues like domestic protection, negotiation with foreign powers, national defense, those things. But in Canada, the central government is very powerful. Now, mind you, some powers are devolved to the provinces. The US used to be a confederation, but it isn't anymore. It's a republic using a federation system. It's not quite the same. The central government of the US has grown very powerful. However, states are still more sovereign than provinces are in Canada. States all have their constitutions. Canadian provinces don't have a constitution. States have criminal law, each individual to the state. In Canada, criminal law is a federation thing. It's a Canada thing. It's a federal thing. States are allowed to have militaries. And I'm not talking about the National Guard, which has technically a dual jurisdiction, both federal and state level. I'm talking about the state defense forces. Not all states have it, but most states do. They have an army, a small one, but an army nonetheless, whose sole allegiance is to the state. They don't answer, they cannot be federalized, they don't answer anyone else but to the state. Heck, some states even have a navy. I think that's a beautiful thing, and it allows the people to form governments and to have laws and to have rules that apply best to them and to their needs.